Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our CCL Vanguard Open. My name is Visions. Alongside me, I got Proper. We're back into the Call of Duty action. We got an absolute banger coming up for us. But first, Andy, how you doing today, man? How's it going?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for asking us. We have ourselves a great pleasure of watching some matches happen last night into today as well. The Swiss format is always a fun time when it comes down to these CCL kickoffs to be able to see some teams that we know from colleges alone. Some rosters have seen some shakeups. Some students have already graduated. It's always a great time to be able to witness what these colleges have to offer, my man.
I have to agree. I mean, this is, a lot of the preseason stuff and what we're going to potentially get coming in towards the season. And with two squads like this, ASU Maroon and Concord Maroon, it's the battle of the Maroons, and they're both 5-0. I mean, coming into this is obviously a massive matchup because they're looking to keep themselves flawless. That is really it. And you have an opportunity to try and put yourself in the best possible position coming out of this Swiss bracket. So we'll see which team is going to be able to do it. Both have obviously been coming off a lot of hot wins. More so ASU there, where they just clutched up 6-4. So they played a really tight series. And they're going to be playing a lot of the same maps here, at least for Kavutsu coming in towards that second one. Now, speaking about the maps, let's get right into it. We got pretty much one of the fan favorites in Vanguard coming up first. We got a hardpoint on Tuscan, followed by that map that I just mentioned, Kavutsu hardpoint, and then if need be proper, we will go in towards an S&D on Tuscan as well.
God, I love Tuscan Hardpoint. It just plays so well, doesn't it? I mean, the way that it just flows from opposite sides to each other, it always feels like you have a winning chance. You can turn almost every hill essentially into a money hill, barring maybe the Church Hardpoint where you have a lot of entry points. This is going to offer a lot of different circumstances for our two 5-0 teams throughout the Swiss bracket to be able to not only showcase what it means to be able to be pushed to the limit, but to be able to also fight back a team that wants it just as bad as the other. Because Concord Maroon, this is a different roster that we know and love. They don't have the red chase buff anymore. Paralysis isn't here anymore. Jamie Megatron, they're off as well. You still have Trauma, you still have Crook, but they're playing with Logan and they're playing with Stookie as well. Two players that got scouted by Concord, and I got to tell you, these Mountain Lions, the way that they are kind of formulating their rosters, it's really starting to be a reckoning for a lot of different teams to be able to combat it against. I mean, they have won so many different kickoff tournaments already since the CCL's inception. Who's to say that they're not on par to do it again?
And I really love that you bring that up, right? Like, these guys have obviously just been running through the competition so far in the CCL League, and in a lot of these open tournaments, I feel like this is where some teams will, thrive when they're used to playing, multiple matches, multiple series on the day, and you're able to fix a lot of those mistakes as you go. Now, as we look across the board and we take a look at ASU Maroon, this is also, a very nice lineup, and have obviously been showing us, what they bring to the table, Andy, so far on the day. And they have an opportunity to take down Concord Maroon before going into bracket play. And I feel like that is really the big narrative for them, because if you can take down a team that has obviously already been tearing it up so far in a lot of the opens, you put yourself in a pretty solid position to maybe come away with a massive dub and carry that kind of confidence or momentum into the rest of the tournament. So we'll see if that does end up playing out here for us overall. But as we've been watching Vanguard, we've been seeing, a lot of different strategies develop. We've also been seeing a lot more of the weapon meta kind of develop as well, which is what I'm kind of most intrigued in, because we saw the beginning of the game, it was basically all STGs coming out, and then we'd have our MP40s. But now teams are realizing, wait, there's another gun in the mix here. That automaton is actually disgusting, and teams that have a player that is able to play that flex role, I feel like, are really finding a lot of success right now in the game.
Well, even at certain points in time, you and I have been always just formulating the meta ever since, Vanguard had dropped. And one thing that's always kind of sparked our eyes is that there's a lot of maps where 3 ARs are typically really good. This is one of them here as we start here on Tuscan Hardpoint. P1 could be a rather scrappy one. You can see 2 MP5s out the gates. Fishity actually brings out the Carbon 88K, and because this is allowed this season, thank you for coming back into our live sniper rifles. It is an absolute nuisance to try to deal with this on P1 with that line of sight that Fishity is holding.
Yeah, it sure can be, and so far, as we get in, 20 points already for ASU. You mentioned the sniper play, and, well, still keeping his life. We'll see if that continues to play out. Nice shot up close onto Trauma, so keeping the flow going. 15 seconds to try and fight for here. We'll see if it will line up for a couple of kills, and I mean, 5-0, the glide bomb is coming through. Will there be another one? No, there will not, but the damage is done. You got yourself a streak, and now Gravity already in the back, trying to play for the rotation.
Yeah, and this is where things can go absolutely haywire. Concord Maroon started off on the favorite side, but off of that breakoff, off of the 5 spree, getting the glide bomb for Fishity as well. Sprack is actually on par to be able to do it. There it is. Glide bomb has been achieved. They broke the spawns into new, but the problem is nobody off of the respawn has been watching the flank, so Trauma has an opportunity.
Let's see if more streaks can come into the equation here. Already 2 glides, 43 points for ASU. In the back, Trauma's feeling the pressure on that 2 in a row, so lots of streaks maybe potentially could come in here. Concord really need to break through. We'll see what Trauma's going to be able to do from the high ground. He's now lost a lot of his teammates as Gravity cleaned up 2 off screen. Here comes the challenge, and it's Gravity for 3, shutting down a lot more of the streaks, and you feel like this was really needed for Concord to get in here for the time. They might be able to grab the scrap time, but I think you're fine with that if you're ASU here, Andy. You were able to at least contest a bit of it, and now they're making their way across the map for the big money hill.
You absolutely are, because you still have 2 glide bombs in your back pocket, so if you lose this upcoming fight, you can use those glide bombs to re-enter yourself inside this fight, and you have Fishity lurking down towards that command center to see if they can catch any players lurking all the way through, but the hit's already in. Concord trying to hit it from the front.
All right, let's see if they can get the job done. Another big break on the table here. Prod from the right has that automaton that we were really gassing up. You can get some damage done, especially right here from this range, but the stun is going to stop him right in his tracks. Here comes the gunfight. Gravity comes through. Fishity right behind him. They're going to find 3 out of 4. Trauma's like, guys, where did you all go? Well, that is a full wipe, and now you have to re-hit this, and you can't give over 30 seconds for free. This is a big moment now for Concord Maroon.
And you got to be careful, because, I mean, even winning this fight, yeah, you're going to be able to get the time, but the rotation actually goes all the way back over towards the church. I mean, look where Sprack is putting themselves at. They're all the way back inside the restaurant, just outside that garden patio. That is the best way to guarantee yourself the anchoring of the spawns when you're playing these hills such as 3, 2, and 4, all the way on the outskirts of Tuscan. Concord, they're going to be shrugged off. This is a damn near flawless hardpoint coming through from ASU Maroon here on 3 as we take a look at 4.
It's been clean. I mean, Sprack just died for the 2nd time on this map. That is, I mean, saying a heck of a lot, right? I mean, this is Tuscan. There's a lot of engagements that tend to play out for us, but only dying twice is definitely what you like to see here with a couple of nice sprees. However, we make the move into the Churchill, and it is early control now for Concord Maroon. Let's see if they can, in fact, hold on to this. They need this time. Now down just about 30 points. Prod from the right, trying to pick up A-Long. Let's see what he can come up with. That first one's good. Looks like Stuckey and Crook also won their one-on-one battle, so Sprack's the last one, and Sprack actually almost found 2, but will be traded out. So now you got some numbers in the back, but this is Concord Maroon right back in this game.
It's so hard to block these spawns. Again, when it comes down to the church hardpoint, you got to somehow block yourself all the way down, back on that main road, all the way down towards that column somehow, some way. It's just not feasible. When you're thinking about holding the church hardpoints, you should almost always expect that the spawns will end up getting broken eventually, and that's exactly what happens. But Concord Maroon, they take the high road. They immediately go through the rooftops, trying to set themselves up for 5.
Will there be a break? I don't even think they realize that they're there, but there it is. The challenge, the jump out, the confidence. Look at them go. Concord Maroon taking the fight to ASU now all of a sudden, and Gravity's going to have to simply just hold his life. He cannot push in alone. Now, if you do nade this out correctly, you can look to get control, but here comes one of the streaks. We'll see if it finds value. Sprack is able to find Crooked here. So, another one is going to be eliminated, but you still have Concord Maroon on the time, at least for now, but finally there was a break. Let's see if they can hold it. Prod's right back in. He's going to be able to at least contest it for a quick moment. Fishity challenges and still has his glide bomb. It is nade and stun galore, but now no team with any real control, and it's still up for grabs with a good 20 seconds left.
You can keep this scrappy, though, if you are ASU Maroon or Concord Maroon. Just holding the line through the 50-yard line would be good going in towards the second set of hills. Scrap time to be battle over. Gravity is going to be inside this hill, has some help, but they're going to be chowed out from behind. It's actually going to be Prod that is trying to contest this. Scrap time, 2 more players, finds the first. Gravity will find the trade, but that's good time wasted for ASU Maroon. The only problem from that is that Concord Maroon pushed too close to the sun. They put themselves past the 50-yard line. Now they're going to be on the opposite side of this hard point. Second glide bomb being called in by Fishity. We'll find 1 plus a teammate, so not the most influential glide bomb in the world as Concord are still setting themselves up for 1.
Now, this is a good chance for Concord to maybe regain this lead back. We'll see if they can do it. Crook from the outside here in a great position, and he's going to be able to pick up 2. Good kills coming through. Concord still with control, but here's a quick contest. Let's see if Crook can keep the spree going. A chance for 3, but will be taken down. Prod now forced to try and pick things up, but instead it's going to be Trauma who finds Fishity. Contention still on the point. Stuckey pushes forward, and there's the clean wipe for Concord Maroon. Andy, 20 seconds to play for, and they already got players in position on a rotation.
They do, but look at what Accuate is currently doing. They're going to try to push all the way down. Caught mid-tack sprint. Crook will be able to read that. I love this pickup coming through from Concord Maroon, being able to recognize what broke them the last time around. In a lot of these crucial moments was that the flank was just a little bit too strong, and they're dealing with it in spades. Being able to lose these last few seconds of the hardpoint time is fine. They're all essentially going to spawn in, looking at immediately where the church is going to be at. Crook's going to soak up as much hardpoint time as possible. This could be really hard to break now that 2 glide bombs are off the table.
I like the zoning, but on the minimap, you can see everyone working to the back right now for ASU. A chance to be able to flip out the spawns with 40 seconds left, but from the front, they got to deal with trauma. They do manage to find the trade. Prod now the next one up. Big 1-on-1 gunfight goes to the MP40. Has assistance just in case. In Concord Maroon, they have flipped the script. They were down 50 points, and now they are back in control. They have a read on the spawns, and you can see at ASU, they're trying to get out of their spawn. They're trying to make a rotation, but Concord Maroon has them locked in the back.
Yeah, you can never count out our Modern Warfare kickoff champions here for Concord Maroon. They know what it takes to get it done, too. And, you know, Stuckey and Logan Prodigy, if you're unfamiliar with them, a lot of OLT experience, a lot of local experience as well, before actually going to college, hitting the books, and playing with Crooked and Trauma, and it's working out so kindly for them as well. Stuckey's actually pushed up so far forward and destroyed apartments that they might actually give themselves an opportunity to maybe shoot some players in the back, really setting themselves up for success, but some eliminations do come through. So ASU Maroon, they do get the reprieve that they're looking for, setting themselves up for 3, which was a money hill in the first set.
Gravity up top. We'll end up losing that battle. Crooked, oh my god, playing them like an absolute fiddle. Crooked for 3. That's how you break a hardpoint setup with the spawns. Remember, still very difficult to flip them out unless you get players in the back. Trauma now able to come away with 3 off screen himself. The damage is just coming through. Concord have busted down the door, and they have got themselves at least on the point for the time being, and 5 in a row now for Crook. He is reading the spawns. He is ready for the next push. That is 6. A second streak now on the table, and Concord looked like they are good for the scrap time.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't initially read the split spawn that ended up coming through for ASU Maroon, but once the communication came through, all the arrows just turned around back over through the monument, and then Crook, like you said, they were able to get that 6 free. Strafing run, glide bomb has been achieved. A 3-for-1 trade will come through, but now that we go inside this church hardpoint, again, very hard to be able to hold because the spawns are so easily broken, especially that you have Trauma and Crooked in the back already.
Well, you take a look at what's been happening here, and it feels like Concord have gotten faster on their breaks, and this is another opportunity where they could break the Churchill. Crack of the back here will be red. Prod finds him, but the hardpoint itself, you still have presence here for ASU. It is going to be Gravity that needs to get the job done, and it is broken again. Concord, how clean have they been on these breaks?
I mean, they broke in back-to-back hills now. They were initially set up for 2. They broke it inside of 1. They broke 3, and now 4 as well. This has got to be frustrating if you are ASU Maroon, but you're going to be looking at these 15 seconds. You can't necessarily dedicate too many lives for this, because now 2 more go down. You're going to give Stuckey the opportunity to hit through the middle of the map. They might find a little bit of an unfortunate engagement. Yeah, Gravity's going to shoot them from behind, but it's all information for Prod to be able to hit it. Gravity for 2. Those are crucial gunfights to be able to hold down the rotation. They need this to be a strong hill, Austin.
Yes, you absolutely need it. Concord could still end it on this hill right now. 20 points away from a victory here in map number 1. Let's see if ASU Maroon got anything left in the tank, because they're going to have to play some incredible defense. Right now, Gravity just bouncing between the bottom and top floor, but Crook, he's going to invest it and actually finds Fishity. Now it's a 3v4 on the point. Here comes the push for Concord Maroon. Will they be able to break? Sprack and Gravity so far have said no, but Prod is here with his teammate, and Stuckey finds the pinch from the side. Concord Maroon, the opportunity to close it out on the last hill, and you got Trauma giving them, feeding them information. Stuckey from the side on 4. Stuckey from the side on 5. And Concord Maroon have zoned out ASU. No one's moving in that spawn. And an incredible comeback comes through as they will find themselves the victory, 250 to 187.
Man, those mountain lions are fierce, I'll tell you what. And especially through the first set of hard points, you know, when we saw Fishity break out the Car 98K, just locking things down in the opening lane, everything just flipped the script. Like you said, in that second set of hills, Concord Maroon, they recognize, hey, we got to start battling for the spawns. We got to find better timing for these situations when it comes down to a lot of these different lanes. As you take a look at some of the different stats, we'll have that for you here momentarily. But again, the way that Concord Maroon, this has been their profile ever since we first saw them bust up on the scene in Black Ops 4, is that they're just resilient Mountain Lions, man. You can never count them out because they know what it takes to win. Whether it's Crooked in Trauma from what they were able to do, whether it's through the Challengers year, same thing could be said for Stookie and Prodigy. This team actually has been getting better and better. Ever since Vanguard has launched, they have been doing nothing but just hitting the books, yes, in-game and out of game as well, making sure that the chemistry is online, whether it's playing wagers, whether it's playing scrims. This team is a top contender, to say the least.
Top contender without a doubt. And I mean, that was just great resilience as you frame that one up there for us proper. But I mean, you take a look at the map stats, and I think we even lose one of the ASU members. You know, Accurate, I think, just ended up dropping out, did not have a great game overall. And I mean, when you have one of your sub players that's not able to produce the same amount of pressure that you're seeing, at least out of the other sub players here on Concord Maroon, you're going to struggle on holding the hill and breaking the hill. It's simply, you know, just what it comes down to when we're talking about hardpoint. So a little bit of a rough game, and I think that really is what gave Concord that chance to move back through. But I mean, you take a look at those stats, you see everyone really getting involved with the hill. That is really what it comes down to in this game. You have to be willing to throw your body on there, pick it up, let your players push things out when they have position. And I mean, it just really, I think, simply comes back to the breaks as well there, Andy, when they were just doing a great job of using their teamwork to make sure they get inside of the hard point.
Yeah, it's manipulating the map, right? When it comes down to Tuscan, you have so many different avenues, so many different angles to be able to work your way into the back. And I bring us back to that P3 hill that happened on the first set of rotations when you ended up having Sprack just hanging out inside the restaurant. They were holding the spawns continuously for their team that were spawning inside of the garden patio and always had a way to re-influence their way back inside of P3. Once Concord Maroon understood what had to be done, okay, we just got to send Crook in Trauma, AWOL, they got to get into the back. I mean, Crook walks away with 23 untraded kills. A lot of that came through at the second set of hills in towards the very end of that game. Sprack tried their best with 20, but once Concord Maroon, they sniffed out just a little bit of pressure that was able to be exploited, like you were saying. AccuWait, I think that they were somewhere near about triple negative. Not exactly what you want to see coming off of that hot win versus Texas State, but regardless of the matter, it's always going to be a pacing conversation, especially in Vanguard. When the TTK is this high, when the movement is that blitzkrieg, you have to be able to keep up with the pace, and that's a consistency factor. That is one thing that we can say Concord Maroon successfully did on this opening hardpoint.
Absolutely. And just to kind of re-hit it again, remember, these are best of threes. So this very well could be a hot 2-0 for Concord Maroon. They just came off a hot 2-0, but ASU, they're going into a map that they did end up losing in that last best of three. Now, the good news is that when you lose those maps here, Andy, you have a chance to be able to discuss it before moving into that next series. But when you really need to find a win against a team that just came back on you and also just showed, you know, how good they are when working together, fighting for those spawns and breaking the hills, there's a lot that you're going to have to do together here coming into this. And on top of that, you have to make sure that your subs are not going triple negative, because this is one of those maps that becomes really frustrating for a lot of sub players, especially when you're like, hey, AR, he's top circle, and then you're making the same call out again as you come out. AR is still top circle, so you have to make sure that your ARs are really working away at picking off these power positions so that you can allow your sub players to get close to the hill and actually contest it.
Yeah, man, and we might see Fishity, you know, breaking out the Car 98K again off the opening rip, because P1 does exist on that anti-air gun up and ring. It can become very 50-50-esque when you're thinking from, you know, beach to shining beach on two different sides of the jungle, battling over P1 in general. But you bring up a great point there, Austin, in saying that this is an absolute nuisance of a hardpoint map. Gavutu is so frustrating as an SMG player because there's so many longer lines of sight. You want to try to get inside the boat once we get inside P2, but that LST ship, I mean, there's probably going to already be 3 automatons up there for the other team. You're not going to have an easy going of things. You need your ARs to get online, and maybe that's exactly what ASU need. For their ARs to be able to be the lead front. We know how nasty the automaton can be, but they got to be able to apply that pressure and really influence these rotations.
Yeah. That is exactly what's going to happen here for us. A chance to be able to get us to a Tuscan S&D, which I'm sure the majority of us are also hoping for. We'd love to see this one go all the way to the distance here in a map number 3, both being 5-0, looking to keep themselves flawless. That is really the big goal coming out of this Swiss bracket. We're also in the 6th round. So after this, we got one more round of best of threes, and then we're moving into the actual double elim bracket, which should be a very fun time here. A chance to be able to come away with with best of fives, and we'll see how that process also comes together. But you got to focus on this one first. This is the big one. I hit on it at the very top of this series. I mean, if you're ASU and you can take down a team like Concord Maroon, it does wonders for your confidence, does wonders for your momentum, and it does wonders for your mental as well going into the rest of the bracket. When you have to play a lot of matches in a row, you have to have this mental fortitude, Andy. They can be very long days.
Yeah, I was talking to Trauma this morning, too, and speaking of those long days, again, you know, this is a kickoff champion of sort when you're thinking about Crooked and Trauma had the words to be able to say that he really thinks that all of Concord Maroon have a solid shot of taking the entire thing because they know what it takes to be able to play these long days. Again, I brought up, you know, what Logan Prodigy and what Stuckey also bring to the table. Crooked was a mainstay at the end of the Challengers year. Same thing, Trauma was off and on for a lot of different cups and playing a lot of different pro points. They have been playing COD for about 8-9 hours a day for a long time, as well as just acing as many studies as humanly possible while going to college. This team of Concord Maroon, they have that consistency. They have that stamina. It needs to be replicated by the Sun Devils here for ASU in some way, shape, or form, because you know as well as I do, Austin, when it comes down to Vanguard, you are not slowing down the pace.
No, you are not. You're sliding in, you're getting in there, and that's exactly how we like it, nice and scrappy. So right into circle we go for P1. Let's see if ASU Maroon can have that hot start that they had there on Tuscan. Accurate, looking for him to maybe see if he can have a big bounce back after the bat number one did have a slow start. But so far, so good. ASU zoning around the point, but now they have lost a couple of their AR players. So some big battles need to come through for their subs. Let's see if they're going to be able to finesse. They certainly are going to be known for as far as their position. There's the first one that comes through. Maybe a second, but no, Crook will shut it down. And now it's Concord back in control of P1 with a chance to come away with 20 seconds.
Spawns will minorly flip, so I mean, ASU, they will have those Arch Rock spawns closer towards P2. They'll have the high ground for the ship, but if you're Concord Maroon, I mean, this is okay for you because you're just gunning everything you possibly see. I mean, that's back-to-back frag kills, well cooked there for Andrew Crooked, as they're going to be looking at this rotation over towards new players. Top boat for ASU Maroon, they got to hold it.
Gravity up top. We mentioned power positions like this.
Ew.
They can be so devastating, but Gravity's going to give it up and switch to that MP40 here. Pulls it out. And we'll just try to get some of that time here for his team. ASU still trying to figure out maybe where all of the hits are really coming from inside of the boat. There's so many entrances to really watch. It's not easy to zone it away. Brook looked like he just took a little tumble off the cliff there. So we'll have to try to come back in here to try and assist Concord Maroon on this hit. But you can see them waiting. Now making this hit. Fishy's going to be able to find one. Gravity, what can he do? He can't do anything. Prod's been able to find two. Will be traded out, but at least Concord can get inside of the hill for a quick second, but it's not going to be for long.
It's not going to be for too much longer either. Stuckey's going to get traded out. Scrappy P2 Hill, but ASU Maroon are going to be walking away with a plethora of time. I mean, it's a small lead, yes, but look at the way that they're actually already hitting through the office building. Immediately looking at the rotation over towards 3. Who's over here first? It's going to be Gravity. This is such a hard hill to break here on the West Beach, Austin, considering that you have a lot of these land tanks to be able to lay prone inside of while the rest of your teammates look over your shoulders.
Yeah, this is one of those, guys, I hope I'm good because I'm just here to lay down and soak up time, and you're just hoping that your teammates at least are finding kills, and so far they're able to find a couple, but you can see those white arrows. They're getting closer to the point. That's going to be a big kill again. Accurate, able to find himself one, and now a second on the Trauma, but into the point through the beach. Concord have found a window to at least get back on the hill time, and now you have to worry about up top here, but it's Crook kind of just going rogue down low in the spawn. I mean, he is being a menace. Finds him on, what, 3 in a row right now. Make that 4. 1 off the glide bomb. Can he keep his life? He cannot, but that's fine because he bought a lot of space for Concord to be able to soak up time.
Yeah, Crooked is basically the Abizi of CCL. If you're unfamiliar, this is your first time watching the Collegiate Call of Duty League here, you better get to know and love Andrew Crooked because we're going to be asking what he had for dinner continuously. We're going to be asking what the hell is going on in that kid's mind because he finds angles, he finds avenues, and he hits it so wonderfully. Another break for Concord Maroon. Shades of what we saw on the Tuscan hardpoint comes through in spades, but now we go to the complete opposite side of the map, all the way over towards this radar station where we have ASU Maroon set up yet again, but Concord Maroon, they're quick off the ante just to try to look at these different avenues up through this jungle path to see if they can find a break early.
ASU, they've been good on the setups, but let's see if they can be good on the holds. Prod's able to find one. Fishity goes down, but Sprack there to respond for 2. Crook now over to the middle of the map here will be shut down as well. So Sprack has just cut through 3 in a row, and he's still going to be able to kind of play this roaming SMG role, just trying to figure out where that next hit's about to come through.
He's gonna get challenged here. Oh, the timing is gonna get the jump. Oh, just barely walks away. 8 HP versus Prod, but Drama's gonna find a TK. That's onto Crook, so you're not breaking inside this hard point here. Concord and ASU Maroon, the Sun Devils, are gonna walk away with damn near feels like a whole 60. I think it actually was. Regardless, they're gonna have that whole hard point lead over the Mountain Lions going in towards this upcoming hill just outside of the office building, and where you have Concord Maroon currently setting up, but it's Sprack still on this 4 spree, looking for that 5th elimination to get that glide bomb.
That's right. I mean, streaks so valuable on this map.
Yeah,
take a look at it. Everything's open just about. But down low, Sprack will be taken down, so he does not earn the glide bomb. And Concord Maroon, they've been good for the first 20 seconds now on this hill. Crook waiting for another challenge, has found himself on 3, waiting for that 4th, but will just back down for a quick moment. Doesn't have a whole lot of support just yet. Finally, they get there, and you got one more player to deal with. Crook is waiting for that challenge, but it's read quite nicely. Sprack has been able to take him down. 3 will fall. Trauma, the last one up, needs to hold on to his life, and he will hold on to his life. What a big double kill to come away. 3 in a row now for him, and it looks like Concord with that time have basically worked themselves right back in the game off of what was essentially a full 60.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you wanted out from Concord. If you are a fan, or if you're just generally a fan of close hardpoint maps, is that with Trauma being able to hold their life now, they're on a 3 spree, Crooked 14 and 9 for them, zoning away top ring. The second set of hardpoints has started to ensue, and the lead has diminished just about to 15.
A big hit needs to come through for ASU. They've been good on the initial setups and rotations, but how good can they be on the breaks? That's the question so far. It has been shut down completely. And you can see the yellow arrows. They have to make their way through the middle of the map again, fighting against high ground potentially. But here comes the entry. First one is good. Sprack has broken open the hill for a moment. He has found a second off a very nice stun, and they have been able to get themselves a break. So 135 to 135, but Trauma feels the need to invest the glide bomb here, trying to play for information. Not only the glide found the kill, but his frag did too. So a couple kills come through. It's a very tight game, but our eyes, they're all on the rotation to boat.
The Trauma's going to be able to get the strafing run shot in the back, 6 HP. It's got to take the challenge. My God. Finds Fishity, but they're fully streaked out of their eyeballs, minus the glide bomb. Cricked with the Shiv actually finds Gravity. And that glide bomb usage, being able to read that when there was one player on the rotation, came up just minorly unsuccessful. Prodigy was trying to get up into top boat, and this is where ASU Maroon are being able to sink their teeth in. They've been able to get players up inside this top boat, looking at the rotation, but here comes Trauma yet again. 18 and 8 for Zach. They still have all of these streaks looking to lap themselves potentially up on 2, will be put to rest. But ASU Maroon are doing a stellar job of holding this hill.
Yeah, they were good on it the first time, and they're looking pretty good on it the second time, too. ASU, they want that lead back, and so far, they have went back up 20 points here. Concord might look to give this one more last attempt. We got some numbers, at least outside of the point. Stuns are being thrown in. Gravity is locked down. It will be cleaned up. Fishity from the side has put him on 6, so he has now earned a couple of streaks as we make that rotation over. Let's see if this one could be big here. ASU, they have been good on the setups, but this is really all on the sub player in the back here. Accurate, able to get one, but a very crucial trade has come through, and now Stuckey needs to hold on to his life.
And they're able to read that this hit is actually coming through the office building as well. Unfortunate to say that Prodigy will lose their life, so now Crook has to play their own, knowing that there's a lot of players around them, is able to find the first. Fishity calls in that glide bomb that they were able to get, and it will drop in between 2 players, but won't find any damage at all. It's just information that comes through, but Fishity's unable to capitalize on said information as Trauma absolutely smokes him up on top ring.
Inside Stuckey with that AR, could look for some challenges top circle, but more or less just wants to keep his head down. Prod has found 3 off screen. Brack, Gravity, Aggravate all line up. Crook now is probably going to try to push the envelope, see if he can maybe play for a rotation, and the timing could be big. Because are they going to expect him to already be here? Let's see if Crook can find his way through. He's been able to find one in the back. Waiting for the second challenge. He's got a read, but he can't hold on to his life. However, that is fine. Concord, they come out with a lead, and now it's ASU. They have a chance to pull away with another full 60 here if they can lock things down.
Oh, Prod! I can't believe he won that gunfight. 28 HP, is able to get the glide bomb. Here comes a strafing run being called in by Concord, just to be able to find some information, some eliminations. Trauma does find 1, but Fishity and Gravity, they couple along to be able to find 3. Another stellar hold so far coming through on this radar station. This was another good hill for ASU Maroon, is where we saw that full 60 come from.
I love the patience out of Sprack right now. He knows the streaks are potentially in play, so just holds on to his life in the back and now throws himself on time. So they use the strafing run, but what is it really immense to here? Because Brock is still alive, finds the head of Crook, Trauma gets him. But I mean, you still got presence, and now another strafing run comes through, but Trauma is gonna technically go 1-for-1 here as he takes out himself, but takes out Gravity, and they read the spawns in the back, or the push in the back rather. One last hit for the front. Crook, can he fight for the scrap time? Sprack will say no. He will grab it in ASU. They're gonna come out with a slight lead moving in towards the next rotation.
All right, so it wasn't another full 60, but, you know, a solid 50 is going to be okay there for ASU Maroon. 215 to 191 as we rotate over towards the 5th hill in the second set of rotations. Concord Maroon made a good running here on the first go of things. They're already zoning away players up on top of the ship. Gravity's going to be looking for some timing in towards the back with Accuate. Got to be able to work this pinch as they work up 2 eliminations already.
Gravity needs to get some work done. He's found himself in a very advantageous position. Let's see what he can do. The stun is going to lock him down, and Prod's going to find an easy cleanup. Trauma and Stuckey also zoning around the point here. Concord Maroon, they have been good, and they might just take the lead again, but there's a lot of yellow members here. Stuckey's got to go big. How many can he find? Prod's been able to find 2. He finds 1, so they will shut that push down basically together. 15 seconds left. They might end up giving this over, but you can see a couple more members want to try to contest that time and make sure that Concord does not get too close to a win.
And Crook being able to find 2 more eliminations as well. They're going to be able to read that ASU Maroon are still spawning in essentially 4-5. So they're going to set up on 1. They know that they can close it out here. They're just trying to read out where the rest of the spawns are coming from. You still have a streak if you are Fishy. The strafing run might have to be used here.
You have to use it, and it has to be very valuable. Breaking the setup, not always easy. Prod will go down. Fishy with an excellent placed nade will shut him out. But Trauma and Stuckey, they come back in. Concord Maroon, they are 10 points away from remaining flawless here in the bracket. Trauma just going rogue, running around, waiting for the challenge, but it doesn't even need it because his teammates are cleaning everything up. And ASU, they were up by 60 points at one point in time, but Concord yet again worked themselves back in with the hot 2-0.
I mean, this is almost just a reprise, but the venue had changed. I mean, ASU, they did have a very strengthy lead. I mean, they were getting outslayed continuously, but they were still able to lock down crucial moments, like on P3, or P4, excuse me, that they were able to recognize, hey, we're at the edge of the map. We can hold on to these spawns like what was happening on that Fountain Hill P3, if you will, back on Tuscan. But then going in towards the second set of rotations, Concord Maroon are just so wise. These mid-map adjustments, this is what makes championship caliber teams, and this is what we almost come to expect from Concord Maroon. ASU, they put up such a strong fight. They had a really good season last year in Cold War, don't forget. But still, what sets a lot of teams apart, especially at this collegiate level, is that mid-map adjustment, being able to hit the flanks, being able to have Crook go absolutely AWOL. You can never attest for Trauma to hold their life there on 5, being able to find 3 off screen. And then you also have the safety net of Prodigy being able to look over Crook's shoulders continuously with the automaton, which is an absolute nuisance. It's got to be so annoying for ASU Maroon when you have so much leg up on so many different situations. You got the spawns, but you can't find the eliminations. Look at the stats. I mean, that's just so many non-traded eliminations. Trauma for 28, Crook for 20, Prod for 21. My heavens.
I mean, that's 28 out of 30. Like,
That's
he
gross.
got traded twice. Got traded twice. I mean, disgusting. I mean, just absolutely going off, and that's what we tend to see. 3,600 damage as well. I mean, you definitely got to give some props over to Fishy because he did earn some very valuable streaks. He put up some big numbers, almost 4K damage coming in, but was just not enough presence on top of that hard point. And, well, that also means that ASU, that is going to be their very first loss here. Concord Maroon going to give it to them, making sure that Concord will stay flawless. 6-0 now after that dub. And, you know, this was just yet again ASU back-to-back maps, basically the same story, Andy, where they actually come out with a big lead. There's a point in time where they hold just about a full hill. In that map, they were up by, I think it was like 60 to about 119 at one point in time. And then it was just that one rotation where Concord just lock it down. They get a good 40, 50 points back. They work and break the setups. And as we get towards the mid parts of these hardpoint games, that's where it feels like ASU fall apart a little bit. And their defense, at least around the hill, is just not there like it was at the beginning of the game.
What's the one word that I brought up in between Tuscan and Gava too? consistency. The stamina will be there. You can hang out on a hardpoint as much as you would like to as we take a look at this best of 3 series. Again, it was over in 2 through 2 very, very close hardpoints. I know it's 250 to 187 isn't as close as that 250 to 228, but ASU Maroon, they were giving themselves really good chances to be able to close out these hardpoint maps. And like Austin was saying, they had these leads, but once we went into the second set of hardpoints, that's when you have the momentum shift coming through. Call of Duty Vanguard is the game that is just setting at a blitzkrieg pace that once you have players like Crook, once you have players like Trauma, which we have seen through many different seasons of the CCL start to feel themselves, they're starting to get the vibes in the comms. I'm sure that they just start running through the map, just absolutely bullying everybody that they possibly see. Doesn't matter what team that you're on. They're just going to start feeling the gunny, and they're just going to try to run you over and get themselves those crucial spawns to be able to get some very crucial hardpoint time.
That's exactly what they will do. So a very nice series that comes in. We don't get to see the S&D on Tuscan, but I'm sure we'll get to see at least some Tuscan S&D some more as we get into the rest of the day as well as tomorrow. But Concord looking like one of the best teams right now in this entire tournament. That's just an excellent display of what they are capable of doing. Again, the 2-0 if you are just tuning in, and that was against a team that is also flawless, but now has suffered their very first loss. So we got one more round after this of the Swiss bracket. So once we finish with round number 7 and finish up all of these matches, we'll continue to go through and see exactly where everyone is going to place going into that actual double limb bracket where things are going to get very spicy, very exciting here for us, and that's what we're going to be looking towards next. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to throw to a very quick break. When we come back, round 7 coming up next.